One of the most popular questions we get asked is to explain how memory sticks can work with a keyboard to transfer files. Now with the Tyros you have the USB port on the front and the back, and that's to allow you to transfer files into your Tyros or out somewhere else. Now the files that you can transfer would be song files, multipads, style files, voice files and registrations. And these can all be imported into your keyboard, maybe ones that you've bought from somewhere else or ones that someone else has given you, or you can save your own files or take off songs and burn them onto CDs. I'll give you some examples of how we can do that now. Okay, now we have various sections of the instrument that we can load information into using our memory stick. These include the song section on the A button, the style section on the D button, the multipad section on the E button, the voice sections, and then the J button is for registrations, which is the most popular way to be using the memory stick for loading in all our registrations of our sounds and things. So what we need to decide is what we want to bring in, and if we want to store it in our instrument or just use it directly from the memory stick. If we start off by just using one of the files but not actually putting it into our instrument to store, just purely using it direct from the memory stick, we'll start off with a registration file, hitting the J button where the registrations are and selecting the USB port. Now the user port is where we are at the moment. If I go across to the hard drive, that's the big memory where you can store loads and loads of files, and then the final one is the USB port, and in the USB port we have the things off our memory stick. So in this case we have my files, and I could choose maybe the Tyros Tipsters registration pack, and then we can exit back out again, and that's now put it into our J button, our registration section, and that now will fill up our blue buttons with the registrations that I've got on that batch. Going back into the screen again, we can see that selected. If we wanted to pick a song, we can go to the A button. Now we can click on the memory stick, which is on the USB tab. Let's click on the USB, and what we can do is we can choose it, exit that out, and that's now ready to use in our song section over on the far side here. Another one might be a style that you've got that someone's given you. So if we exit back to the main screen and choose the style section, let's click on D. We can tab across to our USB port and find the file. There's my Tipster style. Highlight it, exit back out, and we're now using that style when we go to our rhythm section. Now at the moment we're just using them purely from the memory stick. We're not transferring them into the Tyros memory, we're just using them directly from the memory stick. But you may want to actually put them into your instrument for good, or to use for the foreseeable future. So let's say we wanted to bring in the Tipsters file, the registration file, and store it into our instrument. Now we'll do the same again. We'll go to the USB port and we'll select the file we want to copy across. There's my Tipster registrations. If we go to the top one of this one, it's page 1, look. The bottom is the name file. The copy one is the bottom of number 3. And if I select that, we copy anything that's been blackened out with white writing. So at the moment we're copying the registrations of Tipsters. If I want to do them both, I can do both of them together. Or if I want to select everything on the page, I could just choose the all, the bottom of number 6. When I've decided which ones I want to copy across, we're not going to lose them, we're only going to make a copy from the memory stick into our instrument. So I've selected these 2 files now, and I go OK, that's the bottom of number 7. Once I've done that, we want to tab across to the area where we want to store them. Now the hard drive is a huge area where we can store loads and loads of files, but if it's just a few files that you want to keep accessible very easily, let's tab across to the user. There we go, and I'm going to paste them in. We have to copy them for the memory stick and paste them in, and it says now executing, don't turn the power off, and they're now transferred into my user tab. There's my 2 files that I've transferred. So the other way to do this would be to actually cut them out of the memory stick altogether. and that would mean that I wouldn't have them any longer on my memory stick, I'd only have them in the instrument. And the way we'd have done that would be on the USB, instead of copying, we would have cut them. That's the bottom of number 2, and that extracts them from the memory stick, puts them into the keyboard, but you'll no longer have them on your memory stick. So if there's something you're going to just bring across once and never need to use again, we cut, and that will actually lose them from your memory stick and just leave them in your keyboard. Now Chris is at the moment sending out his copy of the Jeeves and Wooster registrations. So if you're one of the ones who want us to send it to you by email, you can copy it onto your memory stick using your computer, and then we can go into this J button for our registrations, and we can select it from the USB port. There it is, Jeeves and Wooster, and we can copy, OK, and then we can paste it into one of our drives. Let's use the user drive. We paste it in with the bottom number 4, and that's now in there. And of course this works the same both ways. So should we want to transfer something back to our memory stick, we can do it all in reverse. Let's say that we want this file back onto our memory stick again, so we can select it from the user drive where it's kept, and we can copy that. We go OK, bottom number 7. We go across to our USB port, and we can paste it in with the bottom of number 4. And there it is, now on our memory stick. So it's very easy to take the files either way, from a file on the memory stick or from the instrument into your memory stick, and both ways will work. Now you need to remember that all these files are different types and are stored in different areas of the keyboard. So when you go into the multipad section, you won't see your registration files. When you go into the registration files, you won't find any of the song files. You need to go to the correct area, and that's where you use the letters down the side of the screen. Now for song files, there are 2 sorts. There are the ones which are MIDI files using the 16 tracks within the keyboard, and there are the ones which give you audio files, and these are recordings. Let me explain how that works. So our audio tracks are located just to the left in the audio player. Previously we've been using the MIDI file recorder, and that's where we can play up to 16 tracks using instruments within the keyboard. But if we want to play songs maybe that we've downloaded from a CD or from a track on YouTube, or someone singing vocal tracks, we can use those using the audio recorder, and to select them we press the mode button. That takes us into a new screen, and this is the audio screen. We can choose the file using the A button again, and we have the USB track. Select here, and there we go. I can find my Tipsters audio track, select it, and that brings it in, so it becomes into play and starts flashing to play back on the audio recorder. Okay, so the most important thing here is to know which file you're transferring and into which section and where you'll find it. Remember, down the main screen you have these different letters, and they're all allocated to different types of files. There's multipads, there's registrations, voices, songs. There's quite a few to get mixed up, so just make sure you look carefully and get the right section. I hope you found this useful. Tyros tips, because we care.